Okay, so this is the main idea of this is doing a guess and check table, and then using that guess and check table to come up with an equation. All right, that's what we did yesterday, but we'll do it again here. We have a rectangle whose perimeter is 66, and then the length exceeds its width by 8. So all they're doing here, they plug a guess of 10 in. That means that the length is going to be 8 more than that, or 18. Now your guess would be that your width is 10 and your length is 18. So they plug it into perimeter formula and figure out that the perimeter would be too small. So that'd be 56. Our target's 66. So it was too small, it didn't check off, so that means our guess needs to be a little bit bigger. Yesterday we figured, okay, well let's make it bigger, let's make it 12. You don't have to show all of your work in each one of these if you know what you're doing. It's your guess and check table. So the length is 8 more than its width, so now your length would be 20, which means your perimeter would be 2 times 12, which is 24, plus 2 times 20, which is 40. So your perimeter would be 64. Your target's still 66, so it did not check off. It's still too small. So then yesterday we said, well, let's go up by 1 then. Let's go to 13. That would make our length 21. Our perimeter would be 26 plus 42, which is 68. Nope, still not right, but now it's just too big. So now it was down by 2 and then up by 2. So if we just go in the middle of those two, makes sense, be 12.5. Your length would be 20.5. So your perimeter would be 25 plus 41, which is 66, and that works. So yes, that's it. All right. So now we do have our width to be 12.5 and our length to be 20.5. Now, I want to be able to use that guess and check table to come up with an equation. So I'm going to extend the table. I'm going to extend it way down low here. But if we made our guess to be x, that would mean that our length would be x plus 8, right? Then our perimeter would be 2 of the widths, or 2x, plus 2 of the lengths, 2 times x plus 8. That has to equal our perimeter of 66. And hopefully all you guys can solve that, no problem, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next. So here was last night's problem, a little bit more complicated. We have day student Avery just bought 10 gallons of gas, the amount of fuel used for the last 355 miles of driving. Being a curious sort, Avery wondered how much fuel had been used in city driving, which takes 1 gallon for every 25 miles, and how much had been used in freeway driving, which takes 1 gallon for every 40 miles. Avery started guessing 6 gallons, or started by guessing 6 gallons for city driving, and then completed the first row of guess and check table below. Notice the failed check. Make your own guess to fill it out. Okay, so we're going to have to do this on a test Friday. So she guessed city driving, which was 6, and 6 gallons, so that's in G, gallons, which means that her freeway driving, she did 10 total, so the freeway driving would have been 4. So she calculated her city mileage, which is 6 times 25, you got 150. So that's total miles for city. And then that means it'd be 4 times 40 miles a gallon for freeway, it's 160. You add those up and you want to get 355 because that's what her total miles was. So with that information, what should my next guess be for the city? Should it be bigger or smaller? Smaller? Are we okay with that? So guess 5. I mean, 310 is, it's not super close to 355, but it's relatively close. So let's try 5. So now we go 5 for the city. what would be the freeway then? 5, because it has to add a 10. So we can do 5 times 25 now, because that's the city miles. 125. Zoom in a little bit. Then we could do 5 times 40, which is 200. So total miles now would be 125 plus 200, which is 325. Still too low. No. So it's still too low, but we're going the right direction. So what do we want to do for a city now? What was a good guess, Steven?
3.
3? Is that what you're going to say? 2? So let's try 3, which would make your freeway 7. Aiden, question?
There's a pattern. Every time you subtract 1 from the city gallons, the number of miles increases by 15.
Okay, so I see that in this first one. And I'm sure if you did more guesses, you probably might have seen that, is that every time you decrease this by 1, your total miles goes up by 15 right here.
Yeah.
So that means this one should work, right? So 3 times 25, which would be 75. And notice how now I know what I'm doing. I have that in my head, so I can just write the total city miles right there. Freeway miles would be 7 times 40, which is 280. And that is 355. And that worked. So does that make sense how they did that? So now we know she drove 3 miles in the city, 7 miles on the freeway. Now here's the thing is we want to come up with an idea using variables. And it says write C in the city gallon column. Okay, so I'm going to write it way down here. Actually, we could probably just do it right here. We can go call that C. If that's C, what's our freeway gallons going to be? 10 minus C. We call it F, but we only want one variable. So just do 10 minus C, because we just took 10 minus, that's what we did here. This was 10 minus this 5, this was 10 minus 3, so that's 10 minus C. Okay, then we took our city miles. What do we do here? We took this number and multiplied by 25 every time, right? Yeah. So this would be 25 times C. We took this number, whatever's right here, times 25 right here. What do we do for this column? Steven?
It would be 40 times 10 minus C.
Perfect. It'd be 40 miles per gallon times our freeway, which was 10 minus C. Now we added those up. We added those up right here for total miles. So I'm actually going to draw a line here and just say I don't want to squeeze in that room. But we took 25C plus 40 times 10 minus C. And what did we want that to equal? Steven? 355. That makes sense? So once we have that, it says to solve the equation now. If we solve this, we should get 3 for C. We'll go ahead and solve it outright. We'll use white now. That'd be 25C plus distribute 400 minus 40C equals 355. We can combine like terms. It would be negative 15C equals, I just combine those, and then subtract the 400 from both sides, which would be negative 45. So C equals 3. Make sense?